You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper.
And I'm Carolyn Nelson.
And we are going right now, ladies and gentlemen, to New York. And we're going to be a little fly on the wall and listen to Mr. Rockefeller and Mr. H. Ross Perot as they discuss the American worker. Well, there you are, folks. That's what you'd hear if you were a fly on the wall. Guaranteed. Was a time in this country when you could work your whole life and get nothing but a gold watch if you were lucky. If you were really lucky. So they hung out the carrot of Social Security, and everybody jumped on that bandwagon, thinking that that would be the answer in your old age. Of course, it wasn't. It never is. But it was a contract whereby you lost your state citizenship and became a 14th Amendment citizen of the Federal District of Columbia with no constitutional rights. And that, coupled with the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, was the beginning of the end. If you wonder what the clicking is, I've got a sore throat, so I've got a lozenge in my mouth. Trying not to make too much noise, but I probably will. And when Social Security turned out not to be the trick, companies then, to attract the best workers, began to offer retirement plans and built up huge retirement funds. And guess what happened then? When it came time to retire, about a week before you would have had the seniority to do it, they fired you. Fired you or laid you off, never called you back. And then the company, on one pretext or another, took all the money out of the retirement fund and spent it. Spent it. And yet, I still see all these young people coming out of high school, coming out of college, coming out of the military, looking for a corporation to join so that they can dedicate all of their energy and their life to the corporation so they can rise up and become a vice president or a president someday and retire and live high on the hog. You can give everything in the world to those corporations, folks. They don't give a damn about you. Not one single little solitary thought in your direction, except to get as much as they can suck out of you, and then get rid of you as quickly as possible. That's been the story, hasn't it? I mean, we've all been watching this happen for a long time, haven't we? I wonder how many of you out there still believe that it won't happen to you. Well, folks, I'm not going to be able to talk for very long tonight, so I'm going to open the phones, and I'm going to get everybody that calls 2 minutes to say whatever they want to say about anything they want to say, anything about. And remember, you got 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I'm going to have to cut you off because I want as many people as possible to be able to get in and say whatever they want to say. This is your time to shine. The whole world will be listening to you. It wasn't last night's show that did it, folks. It was imitating Carolyn Nelson there at the end. It's just, my voice just wouldn't do it very well. So I'm suffering today. It's your time to shine, folks. You can get on here and you can make a total fool out of yourself, or you can say something profound that can make everybody listening think, or you can give them the answer to something, or you can point us all in a certain way, or if you want to, you can even rail against me for 2 minutes. I don't care. So I think we've got somebody here on the line already. Let me, okay. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
I actually want to thank you for getting after us last night. I have purchased a few shares of Gannett way back in November, and I finally got their certificate, but I've been dragging my feet about sending the proxy, and your show last night caused me. I went down today. I went to an office supply place, got a proxy, and I'm going to get it in the mail by Monday because I have to get it notarized.
Fantastic.
And I appreciate your doing that, and I hope that some other people out there that might just be sitting on their shares, they haven't sent them in, the copy and everything. That's all I had to say. Just thanks a lot.
Well, thank you.
Keep after it.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you.
It's not the people out there sitting on their shares that I'm worried about. It's the people out there sitting on their butts that don't have any shares that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know the number, it's 602-333-2174. Good evening. Yep. Whoever was calling just hung up. Got cold feet, huh? Well, you better do something about those cold feet, because what's coming, ain't no coward's going to survive. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Cooper. Got a question for you.
Sure.
Have you noticed the news report that came out, and probably you noticed a few months back, on the Jupiter comet collision phenomenon?
We already talked about it, yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
I must have had static.
Well, in some areas of the country you can't hear the show sometimes because of the, whatever they call it, propagation. Is that the right term?
I believe so. July 21st, huh?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Do you believe that the Galileo is actually close to the planet, closer than they're saying it is, or?
I don't know. I don't believe anything they say.
Yeah.
And since I can't go out there and look,
Right.
I don't know. Right. Nobody knows but them.
I've been trying to look into old news articles and figure out what dates, and I see what looks like a lot of conflicts of timings and dates. And
yeah, have you read Malachi Martin's book, The Keys to This Blood?
No, I haven't.
Well, he wrote the book with the approval of the Pope. It's actually a message to Catholics around the world. And in the book he talks about a fission event. He talks about a fission event that will cause something to happen in the heavens that will reinstate the Pope to the throne of the world.
I see.
So what do you think that could possibly be?
Okay. That's I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'll look into that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. Don't forget, most of these big players at Lee Iacocca, William Casey, Oliver North, all of these people are Knights of Malta. Their allegiance is sworn to the Pope, not the United States of America, folks. That goes for old Pat Buchanan, too. Sovereign and Military Order of the Knights of Malta. Good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening. I called my stockbroker today, and he told me the last day I could possibly buy stock for Gannett is February 28th to be recorded and still make the stock vote.
Well, that means everybody better get moving, huh?
Yes.
And not only buy your stock, but you've got to get your church moving. You've got to get your organizations. You got to go down to the old folks meetings and get them going.
I bought shares in September, just 10. It's about all I could afford.
Wonderful.
The events that have transpired since September has kept me busy and hopping and everything else. But I will buy 10 more shares before February 28th.
Great.
If you could answer, I don't want to take up my full 2 minutes, but if you could answer some other night. Can't get people. A lot of people listen to me. A lot of people think they're going to be raptured out.
I had that same experience, 7 or 8 groups, and there's not too much you can do in the beginning. Maybe one day they'll turn around and listen to us.
I wish we had something like that to use on the enemy.
Yes, I do. Well, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to tell people they do not have a lot of time. You're absolutely right. None of us have a lot of time, and if we're going to buy the Gannett stock, we better do it now.
That's right. And folks, if you're listening, I don't care what you think about me, but nobody's going to be raptured. You're going to be here going through the same hardships that the rest of us are going through. You're going to live to see children picked up by their heels and have their heads bashed out against concrete walls. You're going to watch whole American communities marched off to labor camps. You're going to see this in your lifetime, and it's not going to be from the clouds. Number 602-333-2174. What a perfect way to neutralize a whole population is to convince them they're going to be raptured. I don't think Jesus Christ or God would smile on anybody who doesn't fight his enemies for him anyway. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, I've been listening to your program now for a week or two, and you and I kind of mix.
Just relax. I'm not going to bite you.
Okay, I didn't think you would.
Sounds like you're really nervous here.
My wife is related to Coopers, and I don't know where it comes from her, but anyway, I've never heard you really stress what a Republican form of government is. So you want to go about that right now? Let me see if I can get this out to your general public, because we're losing it as fast as we can because the people don't know.
That's true. They're taught that they're living in a democracy, and slowly it's becoming one, but it started out as a republic.
Okay, now, if you look in your dictionary, you cannot find the meaning of a republic. A republic is nothing but a contract. It's a contract government, and if you want to know what's going on, you've got to read the contract.
That's right.
And back when our contract was first written, Benjamin Franklin said you have a republic if you can keep it. But, you know, the unions say no contract, no work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they don't live up to the contract, our representatives, of course, we should withhold money from them. But since our money was captured in 1913, we don't even seem to know how these people operate. Well, they went in and captured the British Empire in 1693, and by 1775, we had all we could take, and so we wrote the Declaration of Independence, which is actually a complaint against the Bank of England, which was a useless bank. Now, usually in the Bible, it's not the same as yours today, unless they were pulling the same trick back then, and that is, in fact, if you don't look at a Federal Reserve note, the word reserve is not put on there by mistake. It means the same thing as gold reserve. So we're using paper gold to do the same thing we're doing with regular gold, because gold really is in short supply.
Well, you know, your 2 minutes are up, my friend.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
And you're on the right track, but Federal Reserve means nothing. It's supposed to fool us into thinking there's a reserve of gold. There's a reserve of absolutely nothing. And for those of you out here contemplating calling, the last caller, good-hearted man I can tell, and really wanted to say something, but he's trying to put too much into 2 minutes. Stick with one subject if you can, and you'll be more easily understood and better received by the listeners out there. Good evening. You're on the air.
I'd like to be well received, Bill.
Good.
I just talked to somebody out in Oregon, and I just wondered if you have any update on what's going on at the trial over there in, San Antonio, that they're having the trial, and if you might consider playing the 17 little children while the trial's going on, and, help to wake some people up with that.
Well, I don't have it queued up tonight, but I might be able to do that in a later hour. The only thing that's going on down there in San Antonio right now is the defense and the prosecution are laying their groundwork and setting out their strategy for the days to come. Nothing of any importance has happened, except nobody from the American people, except a handful, are even interested.
Yeah, and they're going to be kept in the dark, or they're going to treat us like mushrooms, put us over in a dark corner.
Well, not only that, but they're bombarding the public with propaganda. Did you see Prime Time last night?
No, I don't watch it too much.
1 hour of lies and innuendo and attempts to discredit the Linda Thompson tape, but they really screwed up. They showed a better picture last night of the tank with the flame coming out of the end of the muzzle than Linda Thompson did in her video.
So do you think they might be getting so shaky that they're making a lot of mistakes that their empire's going to crumble? We know that.
Well, I think they're a little nervous about this. In fact, I think they're a lot nervous about it because the Linda Thompson video has stirred up people like they've never been stirred up in history since maybe the Alamo, and that was only down in Texas.
Just wish that we could get everybody.
All across the country we say remember the Alamo, but when it happened, nobody in this country gave a damn about the Alamo except the Texans.
Yeah.
And today nobody gives a damn about the Branch Davidians, including the Texans, except a few handful of us who know what it really means for our freedoms. And the city of Waco is capitalizing on it. All they can see is money, dollar signs, visitors, tourists coming to see where the great Messiah met his end.
Well, keep up the good work, Bill, and see if you can get that 17 little children queued up when the trial starts getting important or when they start doing something, you know.
Okay.
All right. We did play parts of it last week 4 times.
That's right.
That sounds good to me. Well, I'll get off of here. I'm calling from Ohio, and we're expecting up to 45 below wind chills overnight tonight. So
Well,
keep warm.
Light a fire and make a cup of toddy.
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Boy, I'll tell you, we have a fireplace upstairs and a wood stove downstairs, and on a cold night, there's nothing better than have a roaring fire and a cup of hot chocolate or hot rum, hot buttered rum or something like that. It's just, it's wonderful. I think God made cold weather just for nights like that. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello, Bill. This is Jeffrey in New Orleans.
Hi, Jeff.
I listened to your program last night, and you failed to tell the folks that when they try to buy the stock, they have to remember to pay a commission for what they get when they buy it, and if they do sell it, they have to pay a commission again.
Well, I thought we lived in America, and Americans understood that you don't get something for nothing.
Well, I did a little research on it, and that's why I was waiting to buy the stock till late February or March, because we have some special events in New Orleans I have to go through before that time to get some money. But the point is that in most cases that you have to pay a minimum of about $35 extra to buy and $35 extra to sell. Some of these stock companies are saying they have less commissions, but when they tell you that you have to have $10,000 in the account, and I'm not in that class. But I figured I better let you know about that so that no stone is uncovered, so nobody has any excuses about it.
Well, yeah, that's no problem. We did that when we first started this campaign. We explained every aspect. We talked about commissions. We talked about shopping around to find the cheapest broker. We talked about Charles Schwab, specifically a company set up to deal with small investors who don't have $10,000 in their account.
Right. Well, I found one other company, a Waterhouse down here in New Orleans, a little bit cheaper than Schwab.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you shop around, you can find cheaper. And if you get together and form a coalition in your area where everybody pools your money, you might be able to find a local broker there that'll go even lower than anybody. Remember, everybody likes to make a buck, and when you're operating all together, you might want to advertise in the paper that Gannett stockholders get together for a meeting and plan your strategy and talk to some of the brokers and see if you can't get the commissions down.
Yeah, I might do that. I'm also going to alert some other organizations as well, like the John Birch Society and the American Family Coalition, and a couple of other people I know about this.
Great, wonderful.
So we'll keep in touch and see how it goes, and I'll get that stock in February as I promised.
Fantastic.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah, folks, and when you go to a broker that tells you have to have $10,000 in your account or you have to buy 100 shares, just turn around and walk out the door. Don't even give him your time, because there are brokers out there and companies out there who will sell you one stock, and they will charge you a reasonable commission. And remember, they have to make their money. Don't get upset because they're charging you a commission. They're doing the work for you. Good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening, Bill. Good evening, Carolyn. My name is Jim, calling from Hartford, Connecticut.
Hello, Jim.
Hi. A couple of things. First of all, I'm a student here, and I'd just like to say I think I've learned more in listening to you in 2 years than what I've been getting taught here at UConn, University of Connecticut. Also, I'm trying to get the overall picture over everything. You know, I just have to say that listening to Chuck Harder turned me on to shortwave, which then brought me to Tom Valentine, which eventually brought me to you, Bill.
Right.
And just in fairness, I wanted to say that. But my question is...
Well, believe it, you know, I know people don't believe it, and you don't understand it, but I listen to Chuck Harder, and I listen to Tom Valentine. I read the books written by communists and socialists, and sometimes they put on a pretty good show, and they have some pretty good guests, but you always have to understand who they are in the back of your mind so that you can evaluate what's going on.
Right. My question is this. I heard you talk about Hoagland a little bit. I heard what you had to say about Zecharia Sitchin, and I just wanted to know, where does some of the mathematics that they got and how it related to these crop circle phenomena, which is something I never heard you mention.
All of those crop circles and all of the mathematics that they use are right out of the Pythagorean mysteries.
So that is no mystery then?
That's no mystery at all.
In the crop circles themselves?
The crop circles, if you understand the symbology of the mysteries, And you go out there, you'll see that some of those crop circles have messages, but they're not from extraterrestrials. And you'll see that some of them have no messages at all. They're just put there to make the public think that something extraordinary from outer space or from some other dimension or from something paranormal or ghostly is going on.
Would you say that there is some advanced technology used to create these things?
Absolutely. There is no doubt about it that it's a low-power particle beam microwave being deployed probably from a satellite.
And the intent is to help usher in the new age.
That's exactly right. That's 100% correct. It is 100% technology. There's nothing mysterious about it. And if you go listen to all these people who study the crop circles and go to their lectures and listen to their interpretations, guess what they're saying?
What?
Man is destroying the Earth Mother. Man must change. The end of the world is near.
Right out of Colin Andrews' mouth.
Only a few will survive. Only those who have the right mindedness will go into the new age.
That sounds like verbatim what Colin Andrews says.
Well, that is what they say, and I predicted that that's what they would say before any of them ever said it. I predicted it when the first crop circles were discovered. And I told everybody in my lectures that right then they were being seen in England, but within not too long of a period of time, they would be seen all over the world. I also predicted the Marian visions.
I'm not familiar with those.
Marian visions are visions of Mary appearing in the sky and talking to people.
Okay, right.
Now, if you want to see how that's done, go to Disneyland on any night.
Such as Fatima?
Pardon?
Such as Fatima? Is that what you're saying?
Nobody knows what happened at Fatima, but we do know this. The sun never moved. Whatever those people saw was not the sun. You know how I know that?
No.
Because only the people at Fatima saw the sun move. Everybody else in the world, the sun was right where it was supposed to be. They were plowing their fields and going about their business, and nothing happened with the sun.
Okay, I see. All right. Now, when you say
the priests of the mystery religion are experts at what they call magic. You know what magic is? The art of deception.
Exactly.
And it works. I've seen it work. And it's terribly, terribly effective and can be dangerous.
Okay, so this mystery religion is in effect what the ancient Egyptians used in the ceremonies in the...
Yeah, but before them it went all the way back to Baal, and before that to Samaria.
To Samaria, okay. Well, that's what I was getting at when I mentioned now Sitchin. Now, he's done some excellent work, I think. His bibliographies are all there.
Wait a minute. Have you gone and translated what he says he translated?
Obviously, I'm not capable of doing so.
Then how do you know he's done good work?
Well, I know from reading his book that a lot of the things he hasn't actually translated himself. They are translated from German texts or other things that other...
Have you gone and checked those texts?
Each text? No, I have not. But that's the point. How can we research all these different things?
You must. Otherwise, you're just a puppet on a string.
It would take me 24/7 to research just part of, even the South American part of them.
That's not true. He's done all the work and he's named all the references. All you have to do is get them and check them.
Unfortunately, I can't read the foreign languages that some of these are in.
Well, I can't either. But you know what? There are experts in the world who can. And every single one of them disagree with Sitchin and tell me that he has made up a complete fantasy that has nothing to do with what's really written in those tablets and those scrolls.
Well, that's what I'm trying to learn. Being a student now, I hope to.
Yeah. But you can't just accept something because somebody writes it. You can't accept what I say. You can't accept what I write. You can't accept what anybody says or writes unless you check it out. Because if you do, someone will manipulate you with lies and deception, and you'll be their slave. We got to take a break now. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
I hope you all get something from this. I mean, you just got to do it. I mean, it's work. Yeah, it's work. That's why most people don't want to do it. It's work. It's damn hard work to find out what the truth is and keep yourself from being manipulated and deceived all the time. But if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? How do you know that the person who does it for you is telling you the truth? Don't go away. We'll be right back after this very short pause. Do you realize the importance of what this is conveying? January 17th, 1994, Time Magazine special report. Genetics, the future is now. New breakthroughs can cure diseases and save lives, but how much should nature be engineered? In the lab, they've already cloned mice, rats, and a calf. That's a baby cow, folks, for those of you who don't know what a calf is, or maybe it's not coming out right through the static, C-A-L-F. Now, a calf is a pretty big animal. If they can clone a calf, they can clone a human being, I guarantee you. And there are rumors in the scientific community that cannot be substantiated that they have already done so in secret. And knowing the way these people work with technology, we have discovered through our research that whatever you perceive to be the state of the art of technology in the public eye, in secret they are 50 to 100 years ahead, always. Always. So, what does this bode for us? Is it possible, excuse me, folks, is it possible that the promise of Lucifer to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is around the corner? Is it possible that man could interfere with the genetic structure of the human being to produce a man who is immortal? Could they engineer what they've been trying to bring into the world for hundreds and thousands of years? The new solar man, the new root race, the sixth root race is what they call it, the Superman of the New World Order. Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I know that messing around with the genetic code of the human animal is not only extremely dangerous, but probably wrong in every aspect. Could they cure diseases permanently? Well, probably they could. But if they are allowed to cure diseases, what else could they do at the same time? And how are they going to cure these diseases? Because it has to be done in the fetus state or in the egg state. The genetics have to be re-engineered somehow so that when the child grows, whatever genetic code was there that would cause the person to acquire a cancerous growth in their lifetime is taken out, and no cancerous growth could ever grow. I suggest you get this issue and read it. And also, I want you to notice on page 4, under the letters section, right at the top, it shows the January 13th issue, the cover of the January 13th issue, folks. Or excuse me, January the 3rd. It's the cover of the January the 3rd issue, where they have 4 faces pictured there. And this is a quote, a direct quote. You see, they think we're so stupid, and they don't even know that there is an hour of the time where you could receive this kind of education. So they just blatantly throw this out, knowing that you won't understand what it means. It says, men of the year, quote, these 4 courageous men of vision, though raised in hate, were resolved to seek justice and the brotherhood of man. Unquote. And who are they? Who are these men? Why, Yasser Arafat, F.W. de Klerk, Nelson Mandela, and I'll let you look up the other one for yourself, because I want you to go look. And if I tell you who all 4 of them are, a lot of you will never bother. I already know that. So every day, in almost every publisher, this is only Time Magazine. If we were at a magazine rack, I could pull almost every magazine off the rack and show you verification for everything that I've ever been telling you. Literally. So, folks, you better take my message to heart. And you had better take positive and powerful steps right now to protect your family's future. You may have to go into hiding. And you may be only able to take what you can carry. What you can carry. What could you carry now that could possibly enable you to feed your family and survive? for a year on the run, or in the woods, or in the alleys, or wherever you had to go. Well, I tell you that there isn't much. And whatever you could carry, you're going to need in the way of clothing, in the way of weapons and ammunition, in the way of food, and the food's not going to last you long. But I venture to say a bag of gold or silver coins would come in handy. And in the type of collapse that's expected as the New World Order comes into being, as they cleanse the earth, as they call it, and they have made no bones about it, anyone who does not meet the criteria of the new man, the new root race, will not be allowed to participate. So call 1-800-289-2646. Do it now. 1-800-289-2646. Talk to them about your situation. Thank them for sponsoring the Hour of the Time. Mention my name, William Cooper. Ask for the free newsletters and other literature that you need to read. And then take steps to protect yourself and your loved ones against a total financial collapse. Or against the day when you may be forced to make a choice between your God, whoever that is, and the God of the New World Order. Between accepting an implant or a mark or a tattoo on your right hand or on your forehead, or refusing. Now, this is not a religious show. I'm not saying this to make you believe that the book of Revelations is coming to pass. I'm telling you this because in our research, this is what is planned. This is what is planned. Nothing to do with religion with them. And with some of you, it has nothing to do with religion either, but you're still going to be asked to do these things. So call now 1-800-289-2646. That's 1-800-289-2646. And do it now. Good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening, Bill.
Hello.
I'm calling to give you a report on Police State, Louisiana.
Oh, good.
I'm wondering, did you hear about the raid that occurred in Amite, Louisiana Thursday a week ago?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, they had a 140-man narcotics sweep by the state police, the FBI, the U.S. Treasury, U.S. Customs, Marshals.
Is this where they closed off the streets in part of the city and actually went house to house?
Right. U.S. Army, ATF, IRS, and a tri-parish, which means county, task force. They used high-tech Black Hawk helicopters, and the net result of all this was a few $100s in cash, a pistol, and $680 worth of drugs. And this was a multi-jurisdictional task force, and the sheriff couldn't even say with certainty to whom the Black Hawk helicopters belonged. I think one of them was a U.S. Customs helicopter because they are equipped with heat-sensing equipment and other high-tech type things that they have on them. And so they searched anyone who was in the area, and they just terrorized the people. And the sheriff thinks he did a wonderful job. Now, in addition to that, I have a copy of The Guardian. That's the official paper from Fort Polk, January 7, 1994. And Fort Polk is a joint readiness training center.
That's right, and there are Russian units there.
There are all kind of units there. Anyway, this particular article is telling about this village that they're building. And they said that it's just a wonderful thing that they're building this village, and they will search for and confiscate weapons. It's a live fire village, and it's being constructed for searching and confiscating weapons and capturing enemies who may be posing as villages. Translate patriots, I guess.
That's correct, and it is an exact duplicate of the average American town.
Right, and they have Tommy targets, painted wooden silhouettes of men, women, and children, and they will represent the villages, patriots, and so forth. Okay, then we have another little article here that appeared in the Lake Charles American Press of December the 27th. It says warrant not necessary for car search. And it seems that they've been stopping for drug interdiction on I-10. They have a program where they stop cars. And if the police officer thinks that he has probable cause, even if he doesn't, then he will stop and search the occupants. Some of the common reasons for stopping and searching are nervousness of the driver, contradicting stories from the driver and passengers, smell of what seems to be marijuana. Not enough luggage visible for what is claimed to be an extended vacation. Now, there's a defense attorney in Lake Charles whose name is Tom Lorenzi, and he says that what they are actually doing is, he says, these are illegal searches, and they're being made all of the time, and he says America is headed toward a police state.
That's absolutely correct.
And he said, just like in the roadblock cases, the law is that we are not a police state. We don't have border crossings. The police do not have the right to simply stop a motorist and search him. We haven't gotten to that point yet, or at least legally we haven't. But the truth is, in my opinion, based on the years I've worked on these cases, this is precisely what is happening. He says when they take all of your personal belongings out of your vehicle, your suitcases, your underwear, and then rummage through them on the side of the road like that, when you're hundreds of miles from home, this is a very scary thing. And he said if he is an interstate traveler, and he said that they'll tell you, oh, you're not under arrest. The only thing is you can leave the scene, but you can't take your property if they don't have a search warrant. But he says if I'm an interstate traveler and my property has been detained with my luggage, my personal belongings, and I'm to start walking down the interstate, to me, I've been arrested. That's an arrest.
Yes.
And then one more thing, and I'll let you go. It seems that over at Vidor, Texas, where they're having the problems over there with the housing projects, they now have uniformed police, and they're stopping all cars traveling into the complex of duplex apartments to check identifications. They refuse access to reporters and anyone who didn't have arrangements to see residents inside the fenced compound. Sounds a lot like a police state to me.
Yes, it is, and we did know about the exercise you were talking about. The way you first asked the question, I thought it was just another little raid somewhere. We get those reports all the time. But no, that was a full-blown rehearsal for confiscation of weapons and arresting of patriots, which will come in future. Folks, if you're out there scratching your head and shaking your head back and forth saying this is a bunch of baloney, this woman's crazy, she's not. We have already verified this through several different sources. It is absolutely true what she is saying, and we've been trying to warn you for a long, long time. We don't have much time left, folks, and we had better get together, and we'd better start doing something now.
And this is the reason why we must buy stock in Gannett and get going.
That's
We're
right.
getting truth out to the people. We must do it soon.
They've only arrived at this point where they can sow snowball or snow the American people and get away with it through the media. And if we can get the truth to the American people and turn them around, then we can stop this. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, William. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm not as mad as I was last night.
Okay, I got to ask a question. What is the purpose in buying the Gannett Company? How much do you own?
Pardon?
How much do you own of the Gannett Company?
20 shares.
20 shares. What is the purpose of buying the Gannett Company?
Now, wait a minute. What do you think the purpose is?
I think I know what you're going to tell me.
What?
For voting?
No, we want to replace the board of directors and change that whole company around so that it tells the American people the truth.
Well, do you realize how many outstanding shares are available to Gannett Company and how much is inside owned?
I don't care. I can sit around and scratch my butt and think of reasons why I shouldn't get up in the morning. We're going to do this.
Well, right now, outstanding is about
144 million shares. Are you a loser or are you a winner?
Excuse me, but 12% is owned by the insiders.
I don't care.
And institutionally owned is probably more than half of that.
No, that's not true. And all we need is 15%.
15%?
15%.
How much is institutionally owned?
I don't have it right here in front of me, but we have it. It's not over 50%.
Okay, if you have 15%...
But wait a minute. I don't understand what you're doing. Why are you trying to think of reasons why it won't work?
I'm not thinking of reasons why it won't work. It won't work.
No. Let me tell you something. You're full of crap. Now, you go back to bed, little boy, and don't you bother us anymore because us grown-ups are going to do something here. And we're going to do it good.
And we only have 6 weeks now. We thought we had 3 months.
The only reason it couldn't work is if everybody sat around and thought like you did and said, it won't work, so I'm not going to buy any shares. That's why nothing ever works with most of you losers. 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 You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Somebody needs to take you by the hand and sit you down and tell you about the facts of life. Anytime you look at any problem with that kind of attitude, you've lost, and you're a loser. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello, Bill.
Yes.
This is Mike from Key West. Have you gotten any of my letters?
You know how many mics I get letters from?
Oh, okay, so this is a kid. I'm like one of the only kids who listens to your show. I guess. I'm 15 years old, and I'll tell you, these Masons do not fool me.
Good for you.
And I'm telling you, I've got this. I haven't been able to call you for a while because you see, I haven't been able to scrape up any change to go to a payphone. I don't have long distance service, and then finally I got an access code just last night. So.
Have you called us before, Mike?
What?
Have you called before?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I've ever called you.
How's
I have written about 5 or 6 letters, but I haven't called you before. And do you get Soldier of Fortune magazine?
I usually go down and read it on the rack, and if it's got anything of any import that we need to put in our files, then I get it. If not, I leave it on the rack.
I was looking in the classified ads, and I'm not sure if this would be a good idea or not, but I saw an ad. I don't know how this got snuck in, but it was a Masonic ad, and it was talking about soldiers and knights of charity, and it says right to the Grand Master, P.O. Box, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking about writing them and see what kind of information I could get out of them.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier if you just go to where their offices are and follow the editor home every night until he leads you to the lodge.
Yeah, you're right. I know where the lodge is. It's over by the flea market, actually.
Guarantee you, eventually he will lead you to a lodge.
Yep. And I got a shortwave right here at home. It's just a tiny DX350 Radio Shack. I pick you up at least 80% every night.
Well, Radio Shack's got good products. They're usually Sandian, and that's the best.
And I'm going to try to get a DX390. And I've contacted Swiss America Trading. I'm going to try to buy some of their products. And I got in contact with someone in Daryl Flanders. Mm-hmm. And about the Billy Goodman happening, since it's not on the air anymore, except on satellite. Mm-hmm. So I would talk to him, and I'm going to get a selling job for them, try to get as many people as I can to buy their products, and then I'll get a commission. But down here we have a Boca Chica Naval Air Station. Do you know about that?
Well, I know where it is. I know what you're talking about.
I hear that all the planes, this is like a unique base. I hear that someone said it was unique because all the planes and fighter jets and everything are always on constant alert, ready to take off. They're not like in a hangar or anything. They're all on the runway, just ready to take off 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mike, that's not unusual.
Oh, it's not?
Nothing unusual about that.
I don't know. Someone told me it was unusual.
No, that's the job of a military installation, is to have an alert force ready to meet a threat to the country. Some bases have these alert forces, some bases do not. Sometimes they switch an alert force from one base to another that never had one before. So that's I wouldn't be concerned about that if I were you.
I've gotten your book and I've read it cover to cover. And my mom said one time back in 1984 or 85 that she saw them practicing Star Wars in the sky above the base.
Yeah, that's they have technology that nobody out there listening would believe, so there's no sense in even getting into it. Thanks for calling, Mike. I'm going to look for your letters. I don't remember getting a letter from a 15-year-old boy, but I'm going to look for them.
Oh, I have to say one more thing. My mother, she applied for a CAGI membership, and you sent her the letter, and then she sent her passport photos about almost 4 months ago, and she still hasn't gotten a reply.
They're probably in the mailbox right this moment.
Okay.
I remember that. She said she got the membership because her son was too young. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, this is me.
Yeah, okay.
How's your Gannett stock?
Gannett stock? Well, see, I haven't bought a share, but I am going to get a share soon. And yes, I've seen how it goes up. It's I heard last it was like 57 and a quarter in the paper or something.
That's right.
Okay, well, I'll be talking to you some other time.
The stock has gone up just simply from the pressure of the people who listen to this show. Since we began this, started out the stock was $50 a share, and it's been going up. Initially, when the media heard, or when investors heard that we were looking for a media company to buy shares in, the stock of all the companies went up. And then when we focused on Gannett, it went up, and the rest of them went back down. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello, Mr. Cooper. I was just recently, at least last night at 10 o'clock, I saw a show on ABC regarding the Waco incident. I was wondering if perhaps you had seen this show.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little earlier.
I didn't notice that. Recently, I heard Linda Thompson in Michigan at a Justice Birthday meeting, and I was quite impressed. Personally, I tend to believe what she has to say, and
well, occasionally she's wrong. Occasionally we're all wrong. Occasionally I'm wrong. Occasionally everybody's wrong.
Right.
So don't make the mistake of believing everything that you hear from anybody.
I know.
But she is one of the real heroes in this country.
I continue to learn myself. I'm 15 right now, and I'm still learning. And all the stuff I'm learning really amazes me that people like this.
Well, I hope you keep learning, because the future belongs to you people. You young people, you are the ones who will inherit the future. And whatever we pass to you is what you're going to get. Whatever you allow us to pass to you is what you're going to get. And if I were you, I'd be pretty angry at all of us right now.
I am.
You need to get after your parents.
Yes, indeed. Well, they're a driving force behind. They're really helping me along the way. A lot of help.
Good.
Did you have a comment?
Well, we're getting down to the end of the hour. I'd like to let you go so we can get somebody else in here, but thank you for calling.
Yes, thank you.
602-333-2174. I think we have time for one more call. Good evening. You're on the air.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah.
I've been giving one of your shows out on cassette tapes to my friends.
Good for you.
Yeah, I got a minor problem. How would you deal with this? I got police cars up and down my street now, constantly.
What, you got what?
Police cars cruising past my house constantly.
Yeah.
Just right after I started giving out all your tapes. How would you deal with that? Just ignore it?
No. I would go down to see the chief of police, and I would ask him why the police cars are in front of my house all the time.
That was like extra security.
Well, if they say extra security, then you need to take some steps to protect yourself. You need to tell all your neighbors what you're doing. You need to invite a lot of neighbors over to go through your house to show them that you don't have any drugs in your house and you're not a drug dealer. And if they do come bust down your door to get you, it'll be because you're handing out these tapes and for no other reason. That will give you some measure of protection. Other than that, move. I do it all the time.
Seriously, every couple of years?
Sometimes sooner than that. I move whenever I have to, whenever I feel my family's threatened.
All right, dude. Thanks.
Take care. Well, folks, we're about down to the wire. You know, a lot of these things, you just got to use some common sense, and you know, you got to take care of yourself. Number 1 is God. Number 2, Constitution and Bill of Rights. Number 3, your loved ones. Number 4, everything else. In that order. That's the way my life is. And we only have 2 rules. 1, trust in God. 2, just do it. Don't make excuses. Don't think of why you can't do it. Number 1, trust in God. Number 2, just do it. And if you're not that kind of person, you won't get along with me. I'm telling you right now, you just won't get along with me. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, good evening, Bill. 100-690, public law?
Yeah, it's the whole chapter in my book. I was the one who found it, revealed it to the American people. Bogarts called me a liar. When it appeared as the front page headlines in the newspapers, he was forced to apologize to me, and that was in 1989.
I just got the whole thing in the mail. It's about maybe 200 or 300 pages. I can't find anything that refers to black helicopters or anything along those lines. Can you give me an idea where to look?
No, laws don't talk about black helicopters. They talk about funding. They talk about bringing together agencies. In 100-690, they talk about the MJTF, or Multi-Jurisdictional Task Force. And that's what you need to look for. That's where you'll find it.
Okay. Well, I'll try to see if I can go through it again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Good evening. Once again, you're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper.
And hello from Carolyn Nelson.
And right off the bat, I want to wish my daughter Jennifer, wherever she may be, a very happy birthday tomorrow. And stick around, Jennifer, if you can, because I got something for you later at the end of this show. Well, everybody, I've got a sore throat, and I'm going to let you talk tonight. And so don't go away. Be right back after this very short pause. Good evening. Welcome to the Hour of the Time. Hello. Goodbye. Well, folks, the number 602-333-2174. If you want to call and play games, we'll waste an hour. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah. Good evening, Bill.
Hello.
Bob from New Jersey.
Hi, Bob.
Bill, I'm 57. I've been blind for about the past 25 years.
Uh-huh.
Very few times that I've even missed having my vision. Okay? Because I've adapted to it real well. Once in a while I'll comment to my wife, boy, I wish I could see that, but it's very seldom. I got to tell you, Bill, after hearing your description the other evening of the Luxor casino, that is one occasion when I truly wish I had vision so that I could see it. I do go to Vegas about every 2 or 3 years, but I'm afraid that most of what's at the Luxor is visual.
Well, unfortunately, you're right. But I want to tell you, my friend, that you probably possess a lot of skills, and you probably adapted in ways that I wish I could duplicate.
I'm sure I would get a good deal out of it, but, this is one occasion, and I probably could count in the past 25 years on the fingers of one hand the times I wish I had vision. Your description of that Luxor is one of those occasions. I do intend to go out there and take it in. My wife is sighted, and, of course, she can convey to me what I'm missing. But that is, your description was just marvelous.
Well, thank you. I tried to convey it as well as I could, but I have to tell you, I really didn't do very well.
I thought you did fine, Bill.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Are you able to see with your mind's eye, so to speak?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I even dreamed visual and still in color.
Well, that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. It's not, to me, blindness is a grand comedy. And a sad comedy, perhaps. But the comedy is that is not what people think it is. It's not near the total disaster that most people think it is.
Well, of course not. Nothing ever is.
Right.
I had a blind friend once who I used to stand and just marvel at some of the things that he could do. He could tell when there was a wall in front of him about 2 feet away, without fail, every single time. And it just used to drive me crazy. And I'd go home and close my eyes and try to figure out how he did that. And, of course, there's no way, because he's developed that over many years.
It's sound vibration, Bill. You pick up the echo.
So you're doing it sort of like bats and whales and...
Right. But you do it without thinking about it. It's just a natural thing that you develop.
Well, I'm envious, my friend.
I envy you, the good work you're doing. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
You are my pleasure. Bye-bye.
602-333-2174 is the number. I'd like to hear from you about anything we've talked about this week. Specifically, I'd like to hear from people who bought Gannett Company Incorporated shares. Good evening. You're on the air.
How you doing, Mr. Cooper?
Good.
I got to turn it. We bought a bunch of shares of Gannett today.
Wonderful.
And they're yours to do what you want. We'll give you the proxy.
Great. We don't want the shares, remember. We don't want your money or your stock.
You can do what you want. Don't worry.
Wonderful.
Patriotic family. I hear this Limbaugh tonight. He's knocking Shalala, which I'm glad about.
Oh, me too. Do you know what she did when she was head of that college in her home state?
No, I don't.
She put out a memo stating that any student or faculty member, whether tenured or not tenured, would be dismissed if they referred to the men who started this country as our founding fathers.
Wonderful.
Can you believe that?
Oh, it just goes. This Clinton, and then I just watched him out here. He was in Moscow with Ted Koppel there. They're so phony.
Well, I got to hand one thing to him. This is the first period of time I've ever seen him. It might be due to his mother's death, but it's the first time that I've ever seen him without that silly, stinking little grin on his face that just makes me so angry every time I see it.
I say God bless you, Bill. Keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you, and God bless you for buying that stock. That's one more move toward turning this country around.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
602-333-2174. Maybe you'd like to tell our listeners, Carolyn, what happened today. Did you get any calls?
Well, I've had at least between 15 and 20 calls, and people started right off talking about their Gannett stock and the proxies. I'd say about a third needed to know how to send in the proxy. The power of attorney and the statement and getting it notarized was something they were unclear about.
Well, good. Good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening, Bill. I was wondering if you could give me some information about the show a couple of nights ago where you read the article from, I believe it was La Traviata?
No, it's La Traviata. I mispronounced it. It's my fault. I said La Traviata when I read it off.
Okay. First of all, is that a magazine or a newspaper? And is it something published in the States?
It's just a small newspaper. Do we have the copy anywhere, Carolyn? Yeah. Could you run and get it for me? Where do you live?
Rhode Island.
You live in Rhode Island? I think this paper comes from Pennsylvania. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it does. But it's a real interesting little paper. It's got some very serious articles and got some real good humor in it, if you know what I mean, little satirical stuff.
Right. Well, if you can, find it later and give an address or something, or.
Oh, we'll find it. Carolyn just went to get it. It'll be a couple of minutes, and when she brings it back, I'll give the address and the phone number, or the phone number and the address, or just the phone number, or whatever.
And I'd like to let you know that I did obtain 100 shares of stock. I got it on the first time, so to speak, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, great.
They sent me the wrong form as far as the proxy, so you haven't gotten that from me yet. But I've had the shares for probably since maybe a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah.
You will be getting that.
Well, just call the company and twist their arm. Make them send you the proxy. And then you fill out the proxy, have it notarized, and send it to us.
Yeah, no, I definitely will be doing that.
Great.
I also had one idea. Possibly, I think, what is it, March 9th, I think, is the anniversary of the adoption of our Constitution. I believe it was March 9th. Perhaps people could write in their, wherever communities they are, to their local newspapers to maybe publish the Constitution to mark that date.
That's a wonderful idea. In fact, you should go down and jump up and down on the editor's desk and make them publish it.
Yeah. Right.
The whole thing in its entirety with the right capital letters, too.
And not to wear out my welcome, but I sometime if you could repeat where you could announce once where you could obtain copies of the Constitution. I do have a copy of it, a couple of copies, as a matter of fact, but I would like to find it in sort of a poster form where it's all sort of on one page. I don't know if it's been produced that way.
Well, as soon as we gave out that address and the phone number, they closed it up.
Oh, okay. Because I had it on a tape, but I accidentally erased that tape.
So we'll get another source. Don't worry.
Okay.
I may have a source right here. Nope, this is the one we gave you. Okay, thank you for calling.
All right, good night.
602-333-2174. Okay, I hope this person likes to talk because I don't want to talk. Good evening. You're on the air.
Evening, Bill. I had an odd request. You've played a couple of times Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
I was wondering who the artist was that did that.
Well, it depends on which one I did. I play a lot of different versions of Amazing Grace because I collect it by different artists. I have over 50 different versions of it.
Oh, I see. You're really an appreciator of that. Well, it's not. I couldn't tell if it was Joan Baez or Judy Collins. Do you have both those versions?
I've got Judy Collins. I don't think I have Joan Baez. Not here, anyway. I may have it home. But, yeah, we can do that some night, probably next week.
Okay.
Can't do it tonight. We always set up our shows. We queue up our music, and everything is all ready to go.
Sure. Well, I was going to try to locate that CD myself. It's such a great version.
Yeah.
But, okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling. Yeah, I think that's the most beautiful music that's ever been written, the most inspiring lyrics, and if you ever want to make me feel good, just send me a new copy of Amazing Grace by anybody. I don't care who it's by. Good evening. You're on the air.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, Linda Thompson was here in the Detroit area this last week.
Yeah, I know.
And kudos to you. There were over 1,000 people in the auditorium that was where she spoke. And of course she brought your name up, and and you're backed up, and she had a standing applause.
Wonderful.
They had to turn away hundreds of people.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, but next time they're going to go into Cobo Hall, which is a much larger stadium.
Yeah. Every time that happens to me, I always tell them to take a walk, and when I'm done, I just stay and open the doors and do another one. That's what I do. I've stood in front of an auditorium for as long as 12 hours.
My goodness.
But that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do.
Well, I'll tell you, the general consensus is, I'll tell you right now, I'll be honest with you, I know it sounds a little tough, but pretty much so. People have given up on the people in D.C., and they're ready to defend the country or the Constitution.
Well, I hope it doesn't come to that, but if it does, I hope everybody is ready to praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
Well, that was my mother used to tell me that back in the 1940s. That was when I was a little kid. I used to sing that song when my dad was over in the Pacific. But anyway, that's the consensus. Generally speaking, people have lost confidence in the people there, and they're preparing for whatever eventuality may come to pass. And but you certainly have. As a matter of fact, she was on the radio talk program in the morning, WXYT radio, and one fellow called in and identified himself as a Kaji member. He just said Kaji.
Wonderful.
And he had some interesting things to say. And well, anyway.
Could I add that the one way we are trying to go first without any bloodshed is to take over Gannett. Everyone buying stocks and sending the proxy to Bill. So spread that word.
Would certainly like to be involved in that. It's enough to get people to think, constitutional. Everybody got received a copy of the Constitution of the United States in a little booklet, and with the Constitution Declaration of Independence at that meeting. And what you're talking is something I have a hard enough time just convincing people to believe in that and that document itself. But when you talk about the other thing, which I think is effective, it confuses a lot of people here.
Well, it's the only effective thing there is right now. That's how they took this country away from us, was through the media. And I can go back and document it step by step over the years. I can show you exactly how it occurred. I can show you exactly which newspapers, which television studios, which Hollywood movie studios were involved. And I can show you exactly what they did, the movies they made, the articles that they printed, the shows they put on television, and show you exactly how they have conned the American people and taken away their ability to think for themselves and their will to remain free.
Believe me, Bill, there's not a lot of people out here. These people have not said too much. It's been an uphill battle here with...
My friend, I used to say that too, but you come and sit in my chair for a while and you'll find out there's more sheeple than you ever dreamed of in your life. And you got to understand something else too. A lot of these people that swear they're going to be standing beside us when it all comes down will run for the hills and do just exactly as they're told, just like everybody else.
I kind of go along with you on that, but hopefully it won't.
There's talk and there's action.
Yeah.
And when the action comes, it will weed out the talkers, and you'll find that less than 3% of the people in this country will be willing to die for their freedom.
Expect the worst, you'll never be disappointed.
Well, yeah, you don't have to expect the worst, but you've got to be realistic.
Yeah.
You can't live in a fantasy world, and that's where most people are living today.
Well, the consensus, at least at that meeting, was, people they're aware about the stickers on the backs of the signs and so forth. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I have, and I want to know how come there's nobody out there scraping those stickers off and painting the back of the sign.
Lighters and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
The word's out, and believe me, people are...
Take a sticker just like it. If it's in the lower right-hand corner, okay,
use them.
Put one in the exact opposite corner in the upper left, the exact opposite color in the upper left, and you'll You'll have people running around in circles chasing their tails, not knowing where the hell they are.
Love you, Bill. You're great. Okay,
well,
God
you're
bless
great,
America, and I hope we stand, and may this Constitution live forever until Jesus comes back.
Thank you, my friend, and thank you for the call.
You bet.
Now, folks, I want you to understand that in the progression of human events, eventually there must be peace on this earth, and eventually there must be one world. So it's not that concept I'm against. I'm against the lies. I'm against the deceit. I'm against the manipulation. I know that anything built upon a mountain of lies and deceit and manipulation is nothing but a bunch of bullshit. It's nothing but a way for a small group of people to gain control over a large group of people and enslave them. If they want to come out in the open, they want to have a dialogue and a debate, if they want to put it to the people of the world whether they want to have peace and what kind of peace and what kind of government we want to have, I might even be there supporting it. But the way they're doing it, never, not on your life. If they're not going to preserve our Creator-endowed rights, if they're going to destroy the only instrument in the world that ever set man free, if they're going to do it through lies and deceptions and manipulations, not me. No way. Good evening. You're on the air.
Well put, Bill.
Thank you.
Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
Fine. I made it through.
Pardon?
You got through all right.
Yep. It took a while, but I got through about 8 minutes. I wanted to tell you, Bill, that I've got 10 shares I bought after examining it for 2 weeks after your initial announcement.
Who is this?
November 8th.
Who is this?
You know who it is.
This Glenn?
Yep. How are you?
Glenn? Can I reach through this phone line and yank you in here and
I wish I could.
sit you down and give you a little lecture?
Absolutely.
You've sent us so many letters and tapes and instructions and things. We don't know what in the hell you want. So we're sending it all back.
Okay.
For you to straighten out and just send us a little bitty note saying what's what and who's where.
No problem.
Otherwise, we don't know what's going on.
No problem. Bill, I wanted to tell you I've got 10 shares.
You're the only guy in the world I ever saw order one tape and do 10 pages to do it.
Sorry about that. Listen, I got 10 shares back on November 8th.
Uh-huh.
And I called today, and this is more for your listeners, just to be sure of it, to verify how easy it is for the listeners. The stockbroker himself will make out the slip, as far as giving proxy power for you to have authority to vote anybody's shares.
Right.
And I'm going to go in Monday. That's going to be taken care of. It'll be out to you by Tuesday.
Wonderful.
And I'm going to probably buy 5 to 10 shares again next week and see what I can do to put it in my son's name.
Great. That's great. We encourage everybody to save a little bit of money each time they get a paycheck until they get enough to go buy some more and continue that, because even if we don't get enough, forget this February 28th stuff. If we don't have enough to do what we need to do on May the 4th, then we're going to continue this campaign until we do.
Right.
And we don't have to have a stockholders meeting scheduled. If we have enough stock proxies in our hands, we can go into that company and we can call a stockholders meeting.
Right. Absolutely. And by the way, for what it's worth, I will be there May 4th, and absolutely for sure. D.C. is not too far for me.
Great. I'll be there too.
Wanted to say thanks for the good work.
Thank you, Glenn.
And God help America, and thank God for people like you and Linda Thompson and Carolyn.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, Bill?
Yeah.
One more thing, briefly, again, just for your listeners, about that
Page
program.
2. Go ahead, Glenn.
For that program last night on Primetime, this is for the world and for your listeners. I'm sure you know it, but I wanted to get it out. Diane Sawyer, the host of that program, is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations.
That's correct.
And, of course, you and I can both prove that.
The whole thing was a propaganda job.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'd have been better off not to see it.
Yeah, one thing they did, though, they really slipped up.
Well, you're right about that.
They showed a better picture of the tank with the flame on it than Linda Thompson ever thought of pulling out of her hat.
I taped it, and I know what you mean, and that's true.
I taped it, too, and we're going to cut that out, and we're going to make it available somehow. I don't know how. It's really not cost effective to put one scene on a videotape and sell it to anybody. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but somehow we're going to make this thing available.
Well, other than that, and it was worth it for that, nevertheless, it was just disgusting, and I'm wondering how many people took it at face value.
Oh, I know what I'll do. We'll send it down to Phoenix and have it tacked on the end of Linda Thompson's tape on the master. That's what we'll do.
That sounds good. But, these people that sit around and watch somebody like Diane Sawyer, come on, wake up, folks.
Yeah.
It's pitiful. Anyhow, thank God for you folks. Keep up the good work, and there'll be certificates of authorization coming your way next week.
Wonderful, Glenn. Thank you.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
And by the way, Glenn, I was only joking. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, Bill, this is Jerry from San Francisco.
Oh, hi, Jerry. How you doing?
Good. My
I want to thank you for your hospitality when we were in San Francisco.
You're welcome. Very welcome. I can see my fax never made it to you, so I'm going to read this over the air.
Oh, it didn't make it because it was disconnected.
Oh, okay.
But I'm glad you called, and it's good because since you found it, you should be the one to read it on the air. For all of you out there wondering what we're talking about, Jerry is a CAGI member. He had some good stuff that I wanted to read over the air tonight. He was going to fax it. I wasn't here. The fax machine was turned off. Carolyn didn't know that he was trying to fax it. So he's going to read it. So go ahead.
A little nervous here, but let me try to do it.
Don't be nervous. Carolyn doesn't bite.
This is about Steve Carlton, which is a pitcher that's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And this is an article that appeared in the San Francisco Chronicle, plus in the Contra Costa Times, which is in the Bay Area. And this is the second day in a row. So here we go. For most of his career, newest Hall of Famer Steve Carlton did not speak to reporters. It's a good thing, too. People might not have believed that Lefty had something to say. Much of what the 49-year-old Carlton had to say these days was nothing to do with baseball. He did an interview with the Philadelphia Inquirer recently, and what he had revealed was rather puzzling. Carlton said he no longer follows baseball. What he does interest him, is politics and world history, Jesus Christ and Eastern philosophy. Although he said he never had much interest in formal education. Now, he told the Inquirer he doesn't trust the government. He believes that each of the last 8 presidents has committed treason. He thinks other dangerous influences in the world are Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale, the International Monetary Fund, the Council on Foreign Relations. Carlton doesn't believe the 16th Amendment, giving government the right to collect income taxes, was never ratified. Ratification was declared by the Secretary of State in 1913. He believes world leaders are engaged in a secret plan to wipe out the middle class by the year 2000. And it ends this way. Let's hope we don't hear from Lefty again until then. And that's basically it.
Well, that's good. See, folks, I'm not the only insane person out here.
Yeah, well, at least we have somebody in sports speaking up, okay?
Well, that's it.
Roman,
coming from the gladiators, that's rare, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Bill, I just wanted to make sure I read that off.
Thank you, Jerry.
And I bought stock, you know that.
Yes, I know.
It's on its way.
Yeah.
Jerry, I'm going to shut off the fax machine again.
Carolyn, how you doing?
Good. You come through again.
Hey, God bless you both. And sheeple out there, let's get on the ball.
Thank you, Jerry.
Bye-bye.
God bless you. Folks, sometimes I neglect the CAGI members, and I should give them more praise because they are the backbone of just about everything that we do. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes. I have been listening to your program for some time, and several times I've heard you mention about putting by a 2-year food supply or stores and that sort of thing. And I was wondering if you had a list of information or a book where I could learn how to do this properly without spoilage. And then also, it's curious that I happen to know a few friendly Mormons, so to speak, and they say a 1-year supply. I wonder what the discrepancy is. And then also, a few of us need to maintain mobility, shall we say. And how could you do this and carry this with you when you need to move? Frequently.
Well, I don't know how to tell you how to carry it with you when you move frequently. One thing you don't want to do is let everybody know that you have it, because the neighbor that you love so much right now is such a good neighbor and a wonderful person. When you-know-what hits the fan, will come over and kill you for that food. You understand what I'm talking about? In fact, some family members might come and kill you for your food. What you have to do, we had all of this set up for everybody to be able to get it cheaper than they could anywhere else in the country in enameled cans, nitrogen-packed, dehydrated food. We had the cheapest price in the whole world, in fact, that we could discover for CADU members and listeners to this program alike to be able to buy a 2-year stock of food for 2 people, okay, for less than $1,800. Okay, and if you had 4 people in your family, then it was a 1 year's supply of food. But you go out and check prices with anybody who does this, and you'll find that you can't even come close to that price anywhere. And it gave you the required number of calories and protein and vitamins and minerals and everything every day, and balanced meals, the whole works, everything. And not one single person took advantage of it, so we quit it. It cost us a lot of money to put it together and to do it, but we had to quit it because nobody took advantage of it.
So there's no one, doing this, and then there's...
Well, there's lots of people doing it. Go down to your local grocery store and get Survival Magazine. If they have survival seminars or expos or conventions and things in your area, go to those, and you can go down to get hunting magazines and all those kinds of things. You'll see the ads in there.
Okay, I guess I haven't been looking at this proper magazine.
But it'll cost you a fortune through all those other people. It's a sad thing that nobody took advantage of it. I guess they thought we were trying to make a bunch of money, but we weren't. We actually got a 50% discount off the retail price from the wholesaler.
Then why? I'm curious. The Mormons say a 1-year supply. What's how is it you arrive at the 2-year, and how is it they even say a 1-year? And what's the time frame, or how do they?
Well, all I can tell you is I want you to go down to your local Christian bookstore or any bookstore and order a book called The God Makers and read it.
I've heard you refer to this before and haven't done this.
Yeah. God Makers 1 and God Makers 2. And I think Dave Hunt is one of the authors.
Yes. So you figure that, get them halfway through and then gotcha sort of thing is why it's a 1 year.
Well, I just go read it. I wouldn't believe anything the Mormon Church ever told me. Period. We got to go. I got to take the break.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. But that's never happened throughout the history of the world. There's always been a black market. And wherever there are people who have something to sell, there's always someone who has something to buy it with. Are you going to be one of the ones who has something to buy it with so that your family can live a little bit better than those who don't? Even if none of this happens, you don't have to be a wizard to know that even at a 1% rate of inflation, the dollar loses its value every single day. And ever since the Federal Reserve System took over this country, inflation has never stopped. And as long as they have control of the money of this country, inflation will never stop. And you will get poorer and poorer and poorer. Remember when you could go to work and your wife could stay home and raise the kids? Remember that? Or remember that the wife could go to work and you could stay home and raise the kids? I didn't see much of that, but I guess somebody did it. Now, you're both working. You're barely making ends meet, and even some of the kids are working. And you're always hanging just on the edge of losing it all. Well, if you had done what I'm going to suggest right now a long, long time ago, it wouldn't have happened to you, ladies and gentlemen. You would have been able to preserve what you had. A lot of people did that. I know a guy that was trying to convince me to buy gold and silver coins when I was about 24 years old, and I didn't do it. Well, he's a millionaire now, and that's all he ever did. You see, and I'm not a millionaire. But and I'm not talking about buying these fancy numismatic treasures. I'm talking about just gold and silver coins. He would buy bags of silver dimes and just put them away in a vault somewhere and just leave them there. Now he's a millionaire several times over. You know, he had a regular job. I don't remember what it was, but he had a regular job. It wasn't anything fancy, and he didn't make a lot of money. He got rich. He's a millionaire now because he was smart enough to do that, and I'm not a millionaire now because I wasn't. See? So I'm steering you right, folks. There's only one thing throughout the history of the world that has always maintained its value. That's gold or silver or any one of many of the other precious metals in their various forms, including platinum. I recommend coin, and I recommend you stay away from those high-priced, fancy numismatic things. But that's up to you. You don't have to follow my advice, and since I'm not a millionaire, maybe you shouldn't. But I do know this. People who have put their assets, either partially or wholly, into precious metals have never lost a penny. Never. Now you say, well, the gold market goes up and down, the silver market goes up and down. I'm not talking about that, folks. I'm talking about buying a loaf of bread. You see, you can take 1 ounce of gold today and buy exactly the same number of loaves of bread that you could in 1910 today with that same ounce of gold. And in the year 3000, you'll be able to take that same ounce of gold and still buy those same number of loaves of bread that you could today or in 1910, or indeed in the year 1276. So call Swiss America Trading now, 1-800-289-2646. That's 1-800-289-2646. Folks, do it. You know how you are. You know how you procrastinate. Call now, 1-800-289-2646. Do it. You'll be glad that you did. Good evening.
How are you today, William?
Well, I'm okay. How are you?
Not too bad. I was listening to your visually impaired.
I'll be better in 100 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
When you first came on the air tonight, you had a visually impaired person on.
I hate all that phony baloney bullshit. It was a blind guy.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm a blind guy, too, up in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Uh-huh.
But we program every night here in my basement by my wood stove because it's nice and cold outdoors.
Great. Aren't cold nights wonderful for sitting around a wood stove?
Sure are.
That's what I'm going to do when I get home.
Yep. But I was listening to your description of the Illuminati Ellipsis Hotel myself.
Uh-huh.
And I wished I could see it too.
Well, you know, maybe you can't. Maybe you see it better than we do in your mind.
Yeah, maybe. But way down there in California, and I don't think my chances of getting down there is too great.
Well, actually, it's in Las Vegas. Where are you at?
I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Nova Scotia, yeah, that's way. How do you hear the program up there?
Oh, I got a shortwave radio that me and my girlfriend, we found it in the garbage one day, and I brought it home and messed with it and got it going.
No, I mean, what I meant was, how's the reception?
Oh, it gets interfered with a bit with the Catholic station.
Catholic station.
Yep.
You need a digital synthesized radio.
That you can lock in place.
But if you found yours and fixed it and it works, then that's pretty good too.
Yeah, works pretty good.
Anything else we can...
On?
Pardon?
It's a good show you get on. It's good to have it on 2 times a day.
No, thank you. Well, we try to... With the early show, we hit a lot of people who can't stay up late because they have to get up early in the morning. With the later show, we get all the people in the other time zones who are, in a prime time slot.
Yeah.
Plus, we hit the world. You know, it's hard to satisfy everybody, but we try.
Yeah.
But you should be thanking Swiss America Trading. They pay for this airtime.
Oh, yeah, I got a hold of Swiss America Trading way back when you first started advertising.
Great.
Yeah.
They're wonderful people, and I'll tell you right now, they're paying out a lot more than they're bringing in from this. But they believe in this message of this program. Craig Smith is a Christian. He knows how close we are to losing it all. So that's why he's doing it.
About what it is.
I want to thank you for calling.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
602-333-2174 is the number, and we'd like to hear from you. Whether you're in New Zealand or Nova Scotia or Ireland or California or New York City. New York City? You're probably not even home yet from what I saw on the news. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. I was wondering if I could read a quote to you, but first, if you could tell me...
Well, what's it all about and how long is it?
Oh, it's just 2 sentences, 3 sentences.
What's it about?
Do you know who David Spangler is?
Well, I'll let Carolyn answer that.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us your quote? I think we've heard of him.
Yeah, this is on Reflections of the Christ. It says, quote, Lucifer comes to give us wholeness. If we accept it, then he is free and we are free. That is the Luciferic initiation. It is one that many people now and in the days ahead will be facing, for it is initiation into the new age, end quote. So, I thought people might like to know that. I know he's a prominent New Ager, but I don't know.
Well, wait a minute. I want you to read it again. This time I want you to put your mouth directly in front of the telephone and keep a high level on your voice. You dropped off at about the second sentence, and it was hard to hear.
I'll do that. Lucifer comes to give us the final gift of wholeness. If we accept it, then he is free. That is the Luciferic initiation.
Try it one more time. We lost you.
That's fine. That is the Luciferic initiation.
No, the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Lucifer comes to give us the final gift of wholeness. If we accept it, then he is free and we are free. That is the Luciferic initiation. It is one that many people now and in the days ahead will be facing, for it is initiation into the new age, end quote.
I understand that the Christos is going to escort the rest of us to another dimension to rethink our values. Have you heard that?
Oh, I've heard of the spiritual cleansing coming, yeah.
I think that's in his writings also.
Oh, is it? I didn't know what you knew about him, but I thought folks might find that interesting just in case they didn't think the New Age was Luciferian in nature.
Oh, yeah, that's why I give you the fanfare. I mean, people think I'm nuts when I say that.
Yeah, no, that's it's also from a book called The Hell and Back, so.
Who's David Spangler, Carolyn?
David Spangler happens to be my maternal cousin.
Oh, really?
I haven't seen him, yes. I haven't seen him for quite a while. I did go to hear him talk in a small church in Lower Manhattan. We met after the discussion for a few moments. I never could quite follow everything that he talked about. I know that he spent 3 years in Findhorn, where he was the head of Findhorn. He helped to build it up from 15 to over 300 people, I believe, over a period of time. I guess he believes in what he's doing. I did write a long letter to him explaining my position and how I would be trying to share with the rest of the world what I think and how I think his Luciferian approach to life is rather evil.
Yeah.
And so if you join in spreading the word, that's good.
Yeah, I've shown it to some people, and you know how they are. You know.
I think a few other people have mentioned him too, Ralph Epperson and Tex Mars.
Yeah.
As well as William Cooper.
Yeah.
And
people can look it up if they want. Reflections on the Christ, and you're not nuts. Neither am I.
That's right, my friend. Thank you very much. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. I really appreciate that.
Great.
I do too.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. 602-333-2174 is the number. Boy, I'll tell you, people are waking up out there. I mean, when I first started this radio show, I never got a call where anybody ever agreed with anything. I'll tell you the truth. And the first time I ever went and spoke anywhere, it was like I thought I was going to get tarred and feathered and run out of town. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill. This is Jim calling from Idaho.
Hi, Jim.
In reference to your earlier comment about only 3% of the population having the fortitude to stand up for what's right when the feces hit the fan, I think I have to agree with you, but I would rather have 3% of the population that I knew I could trust and that would really be there than some kind of half-hearted effort.
Oh, yeah. The only reason I brought it up is because there was a little element of unreality in that call.
Yeah. I do think people are definitely waking up, though. I'm in the gun business. I sell gun accessories, clips, and magazines.
Good for you.
And by mail order. And the number of calls that I get from customers who seem to realize what the bottom line is, not just a reaction to possible legislation, but long term. You know, people talk about buying a lifetime supply or a supply for both them and their kids and their grandkids. And I think people are waking up, and a lot of people are, you know, I don't want to use the term civil war, but people are.
Oh, I'll use it. I've used it plenty of times. I've warned these silly elite that are in charge that if they don't change their ways, there's going to be a civil war in this country. Not because I want it. But the whole purpose of this program is to try to wake up enough people to avoid any kind of bloodshed.
Sure.
But simply because it's going to happen because they're treading on the very basic fundamental ideals of this nation that patriots are not going to stand for.
That's for certain. There's enough people, I think, that will stand up if need be and make the sacrifice if need be. To make sure that our constitutional republic survives.
Yeah, I want to watch all these hypocrites who patted their sons and daughters on the butt and sent them off to fight a war in the Middle East. I want to watch what they do when it comes to fighting themselves on their own ground in their own country. They're all going to run and hide. I know.
That's right.
Well, they don't even realize that we're at war right now.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you were mentioning 3%. I think that would mean we need at least 100,000 in each state that would be awake, active, buying stock in Gannett. The opposition could give away or sell their stock and give us a sign that they're recognizing what's going on.
By people doing things like buying Gannett stock and by supporting companies like Swiss America and getting their money out of the Federal Reserve System and, you know, feeding the bureaucrats.
Yeah.
See, if right, hopefully a civil war won't be necessary.
Yeah. People don't understand. If they take their Federal Reserve notes, instead of putting them in a bank account, to put them into gold or silver coin and bury them somewhere, put them somewhere out of the system, it hurts our enemy.
Oh, sure.
And if everybody in this country would go down and buy gold or silver coin and refuse to deal in Federal Reserve notes, they would be out of business. There would be no threat to the Constitution from that moment on.
Yeah, they'd be powerless.
That's right.
They gain their sustenance from us. They're like a giant leech on the system.
That's right. Every time we touch one of those nasty things.
Anyway, Bill, keep up the good work. And,
thank you.
Every time I deal with Swiss America, I mention your name, and I want to encourage people, even if they're just calling in to get information from Swiss America, to mention your name. I think they need the reinforcement to know that what they're doing is the right thing in buying the airtime for you. And for all the listeners out there, sing the praises of Bill Cooper and what he's doing, because he's the voice of reason, and he's the voice of sanity in a world that's going insane.
Well, I'm trying to be, but don't put me on a pedestal, because I'll be the first one that'll fall off. I'm just as human as anybody out there. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night. 602-333-2174. Yeah, folks, don't put me on a pedestal. I'm just like all of you. No better, no worse. I just woke up before you did. And now I'm just fighting the battle a little bit sooner than you are.
And you're going to make sure that the rest of the people wake up and are just like him.
Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi there. Hi, Carolyn. This is Hillary from Long Island Club.
Hillary from the White House calling?
No.
Ooh, boy.
Are you in Florida or New York?
A friend of mine from New York City once, and he didn't speak for a few minutes, and he actually thought it was Hillary Clinton.
Really?
Yeah, he's one of those Wall Street types, and
I was just kidding. You know that.
he wasn't. He was disappointed.
Wow.
He thinks he's important, but that's what happens to people on Wall Street.
Well, it's not so bad for him to think he's important, but for him to think Hillary's important is really bad.
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you know the book Red Cocaine, The Drugging of America?
No, I haven't seen that.
This is a book that was kind of recommended from the Taxpayers Party or something. I got some literature from them. And I opened it up. It has a really nice introduction by someone who is from the Central Intelligence Agency. And the author was in military intelligence himself. And the whole thesis of the book is that cocaine and drugs in this country is a communist plot.
Well, you can take
There's no
that.
mention of the CIA.
Let me tell you something. There are no leaks and there are no ex-CIA officers. In fact, there are no ex-officers.
Well, that I've heard you say before.
That's true.
And I believe it, too.
It's absolutely true. When you're an officer, you're in forever, for life.
And I would also include the kind of colleges people go to and prep schools, too, if they maintain those relationships.
Yeah, it's not the Russians or the Soviets who are doing this to us. It's people right here in this country who are doing this to us. And by the way, they're the ones who created the Soviet Union. Even the most cursory elemental research will bring you to the realization that the Soviet Union was created, backed, financed, and brought into reality, and their economy was bolstered all these years. The Cold War was a scam to yank all the money out of our pockets to fund the technology that they needed to control us in the New World Order. And the Rockefellers had a bank inside the Kremlin for the last 50 years, my dear.
Okay. So what do you say to people who say a lot of what's happening for conspiracies has to do with the Japanese?
The Japanese?
Is there a Rockefeller connection to building up the Japanese economy?
I'll tell you what you do. You look them right in the eye, right straight in the eye, and say, you are a racist. And I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Okay, thanks.
Because it's the truth.
What?
It's the truth. Out of all the people who own property and businesses in the United States, the Japanese are fifth, and I'm talking about foreign countries. You know who's number one?
Great Britain.
Nope, it's the Dutch. But you know why nobody ever notices that it's the Dutch? Because they look just like everybody else that live here. Great Britain is second. And Great Britain, most of the property that Great Britain owns is under what's called the Rank Corporation, and the Rank Corporation, the major stockholder is Queen Elizabeth. I don't think she's there anymore. Are you still there?
Are you still there, Hillary?
Nope, she's
Oh,
not.
she's gone. I was going to say that it's great to see more and more of these husband and wife teams out there fighting the battle with us. This is Hillary and Bruce.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Good evening, you're on the air. You're the last caller, by the way.
Oh, Bill, it's Jim in Fort Worth. How are you?
Good.
Listen, I've got a question. About a week ago, on one of our local TV stations, I saw a thing they've run, and I have not seen or heard anything since, about the National Archives are moving all documents. They said it was going to be the largest move in history. It was going to take 3 years. They were going to move.
I hate to do it, but I got to cut you off. I got the gist of it. Call us back on Monday.
Okay, thanks.
And tell us about this. Okay?
Good night.
Good night. Good night, folks. God bless you all. And Jennifer, happy birthday, my dear. I hope you have a wonderful one.